Quarrelers. Since the dwarves first settled in the World's Edge Mountains, they have used the crossbow to slay their foes at range. The earliest crossbow designs were made of stout iron oak reinforced by metal bands, although these days some clans prefer the forged steel versions. Regardless of the material they are made from, dwarf crossbows are deadly weapons, able to drop a black orc in its tracks, or, with enough dwarfs firing in concert, even take down a rampaging giant. When the clans are called to fight, some dwarfs arm themselves with crossbows and join the battle as quarrelers. These formations are tasked with raining bolts down upon their foes, a task they perform with orderly zeal. Quarrelers seek to thin down the enemy's ranks, punish units attempting to outflank their own forces, and engage in ranged duels with the foe's missile-armed troops. Dwarfs have never taken to bows, partially because they do not suit their short physical stature, but also due to the limitations of such weapons in confined tunnels. The powerfully built dwarf crossbow can easily fire shots that outdistance the puny bows used by the goblins, and the crossbow bolts pack enough punch to devastate lightly armored foes. With typical dwarf precision, a unit of quarrelers will unleash its hail of bolts, reload, take aim, and fire again. Protected by heavy armor and their own sturdy constitutions, it is a rare day when an enemy, even one with more skilled marksmen than the dwarfs, can win a long-ranged shooting contest against a unit of quarrelers. Of course, should the enemy approach near enough to engage the quarrelers in close combat, they will find hardened warriors eager to put their axes to work as well. While the devotees to the handgun have grown over the years, they have not replaced the crossbow. There are many clans that prefer the range of the crossbow, while the most traditionalist simply rile against any form of technological progress, and the regrettable lack of elbow grease needed to fire a handgun, instead of winding a crossbow winch to reset its formidable shot. Not surprisingly, some of the less wealthy clans even grumble over the cost of black powder. Thunderers. It took many, many years after the dwarves had discovered black powder for the handgun to become widely used by any save the engineers. Now, most clans, even those that live in the wilderness, can field whole regiments of Thunderers, the name given to handgun-equipped units. Standing in closely packed ranks, Thunderers take aim and then discharge their handguns, unleashing a thunderous fury and a cloud of gun smoke. Although not quite as long-ranged as a crossbow, the sturdy dwarf handgun packs an even deadlier shot, its bullet fired with such velocity it can tear through armor and better take down more heavily protected foes, such as Chaos Warriors. Being methodical, the dwarfs continue to load and fire in a disciplined manner, so long as their foes are within range. Even when the enemy advance close, almost right upon top of them, Thunderers will seek to get off one last shot. While the onset of bloodthirsty foes might cause lesser races to rush their aim, the steady coolness of the dwarves, not to mention the precision make of their weaponry, ensures that every volley is fired with the same lethal accuracy as the last, until the moment the Thunderers take up their axes and meet the foe's charge in the bloody press of close combat. Although dwarves show great solidarity in the face of outsiders, there is some degree of rivalry between regiments of Thunderers and Quarrelers. Given the bitter nature of dwarves, this is not always a good-natured rivalry. Although not prone to murder or betrayal, as are so many of the weaker races, good drinking bout has turned into a bloody brawl when the millennia-old question gets raised: which is better, the crossbow or the handgun? Longbeards. Unless slain in battle or laid low by mishap, dwarves live to a great age. The relative length and fullness of a dwarf's beard indicates how old and therefore wise he is. Hence, dwarfs never trim their facial whiskers. If dwarfs are ever in any doubt as to how to proceed, they look to the dwarf with the longest beard to tell them what to do. This is invariably the wisest solution. In warfare, the dwarves look to the eldest and most experienced of their fighters to steady their battle lines. These regiments of battle-scarred veterans, known reverently as Longbeards, are as solid, steady, and sometimes as worn as the mountains themselves. Longbeards have fought in more wars, beaten more enemies, and endured greater hardships than any young dwarf can possibly imagine. They constantly grumble about how today's goblins are far smaller and weedier than they used to be, and how nothing is as well made as it was in their day. No young dwarf, as hot-headed and impetuous as he might be, would dare gainsay a Longbeard. After all, they have much more experience, and the beard to prove it. Admittedly, there are times when even the most indefatigable, of dwarves begins to fray under the constant barrage of complaints ceaselessly launched out by their elders. However, these are borne in respectful silence for a single reason. Longbeards have demonstrated their hard-won skills in battle time and again. They are unfaltering in their ways, disdainful of minor shifts of fortune that can send less experienced warriors into disorder or even panicked confusion. Whether a howling orc Wah is smashing itself upon their raised shields, great boulders are splatting down within their ranks to hurl showers of bone and gore outwards, or some new eldritch technology of the vile rat men is spewing purple and green-tinged flames at them, the Longbeards will close ranks, their gnarled faces disclosing no alarm, only a seething anger at their foes. A Longbeard unit in a battle line is likened to a reliable anchor bolt or bulwark that stands fast and supports the other formations. Woe betide any beardlings who falter under the Longbeard's stern, if roomy eyes, for they will be admonished within inches of their very lives. It may not be easy for other units to hold the battle line within earshot of a unit of Longbeards, yet it is also a great honor that redoubles a dwarf's stoicism and makes even beardlings eager to prove themselves, or at least not give the Longbeards any further ammunition. Filled with pride, Snorri watched the fog roll back from the mountain pass. This would be his first time standing shoulder to shoulder with his clan, an honor he had waited for his whole life. The first of the hunched creatures appeared out of the gloom, and Snorri felt his deep-seated hatred growing. Then a sudden gust of wind cleared the valley, and the full scale of the greenskin horde was revealed. There were thousands of them. Snorri's hands grew clammy, his knees weak. Throat-clearing splutters broke the stillness as Longbeards, the most veteran warriors, took their place in the Throng's battle line. Soon, gruff voices began shouting, loudly condemning their foe. "Look at 'em, not nearly enough, are there? I've seen bigger tusks on cave squirrels. This better be worth putting me mail on for. You there, beardling, keep your shield high." Snorri was sure the last comment was directed towards him, although he was positive his shield was perfectly positioned. He knew the veterans would complain about anything. Fear forgotten, Snorri swore a silent oath that he would not give them any reason to grumble. Hammerers. The most skilled warriors in a dwarf hold are the hammerers. They are individuals from different units, and perhaps even clans, who have proven themselves in uncountable battles, showing not just great strength and deadly martial prowess, but also steadfast loyalty and a bold and courageous nature. They are formed into a hard-hitting shock unit, a force capable of breaking enemy formations the way a heavy maul hammer crushes shale. In addition to being a formidable fighting unit, the hammerers are often used as a thane or lord's personal bodyguard. Duty to a liege is a sacred thing to dwarves. An individual bound by oath to his lord will fight all the harder, and for the leader of the Throng, a hammerer will gladly give his life rather than face the dishonor of failure. A king surrounded by his hammerers is the keep in the center of the Throng, grim and unyielding, a living personification of the indomitable dwarf spirit. Of course, the allegiance goes both ways, and it is a lord's duty to properly equip these hand-picked units and to seal the oath between them. The symbol of the bond between a lord and his hammerers is the weapons they carry. Each is given a heavy but perfectly balanced great hammer, which is often made of gromrill. Outfitted in heavy, well-polished dwarf mail, hammerers wade into combat wielding their great weapons. They swing their hammers in sweeping arcs, hitting their enemies with such vigor that only enchanted or hell-forged armor can withstand the force of their blows. With a cracking and crumping, the whirling hammerheads send up gory debris as splintered shields, cracking bits of armor, and even heads or limbs are thrown into the air by sheer force of the impact. Dwarf battle lines have been known to cheer at the sight of the great hammers rising and falling around their king's banner, beating out a rhythmic noise that is not unlike the deep booming industrial sounds made by the vast drop hammers found in the larger dwarf forges. As with most elite warriors, hammerers enjoy a high status within their hold. When not personally shielding their thane or king, they are tasked with guarding key elements, such as the throne room or front gate. Larger strongholds will have many regiments of hammerers, and these often become known by the name of what or whom they guard, such as the Peak Gate Guard of Garrock Norn, or the Drakebeard Guard, the hammerers assigned to guard Thane Ul Hammerhand of the Drakebeard clan in Garrock Cadrin. Battle of the Burnt Hall. When King Belagar sent messages to Karazakarak requesting aid, he got more than he bargained for. The relief force was 10,000 strong, all mail-clad dwarfs led by none other than High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer himself. Thus was the siege once again lifted from the citadel fortress of Carrick Eight Peaks, and a new offensive launched to re-enter the main halls below. The High King commenced the attack by forcing passage through the Karagnar gates, while King Belagar drove out of the fortified citadel. The fighting was fierce, with axe and hammer pitted against stabbing spears and squig teeth. The fire of the dwarf's anger was hotter, however, and the presence of the High King turned the tide. The dwarfs cleared the first two levels, their force advancing towards the Great Hall, but But Skarsnik, the leader of the Crooked Moon tribe, emptied his reserves, sending forth wave after wave of attackers. Amidst the forest of shattered pillars, the fighting raged for 3 blood-soaked days. Through sheer determination, the dwarfs won the Great Hall, captured the Crooked Moon standard, and cast down the idol the greenskins summoned to aid them. Yet the dwarfs did not have the numbers to hold their gains. Although it grieved them, the dwarfs burnt their dead behind them, and marched back to their starting positions before the greenskins could recover, or the Skaven joined the fray. Ironbreakers. Most of Karazhan-Kor lies beneath the surface of the world, from the towering vaults and labyrinthine galleries of the holds to the endless tunnels of the underway. Adjoining these are the shafts of countless mines, sunk deep in the bottomless dark. Many of these passages have been infiltrated, penetrated by the gnaw tunnels of Skaven, or the mushroom-filled holes of the night goblins. The blackness of the underworld is also home to other monsters, crawling horrors and slinking beasts unknown to surface dwellers. The dwarfs barricade intrusive passageways and build gates to block incursions from below, but even so, constant vigilance is needed. To safeguard the deepest and most dangerous passages, the dwarfs call upon the Ironbreakers. Clad from head to toe in suits of Gromril armor, Ironbreakers can survive in a treacherous world of rock falls and sudden ambush. They stand resolute, barring danger from advancing beyond their post. It is an honor to be selected to join the Ironbreakers, for they are trusted to protect the hold's most vulnerable entrances. Only the strongest and bravest are accepted into their ranks, but the dark offers no vainglory, and those warriors who choose a path of greater ambition must seek out the Hammerers. To serve as an Ironbreaker, a dwarf must take vows to stand bold, even if no king, lord, or thane is near. Behind and above him are the beardlings, treasure troves, ancient tombs, and the very halls that the forefathers of his race carved out of rock in ages past. Before and below an Ironbreaker will be only the dark, the all-consuming blackness that hungers to grasp everything into its clutches. Ironbreakers are trained to fight in tight formations, wedged into the confines of narrow tunnels. There they find defensible positions, and let the enemy break upon their overlapping shields as wave crash into rock. Implacable, and unmoving, they form a living line, Gromril hard, that holds back the flood terror that lurks in the dark below. Enemies fall before their axes like winter wheat before the scythe, and blows clang harmlessly off their nigh impervious armor, or are caught and deflected by their sturdy shields. Each regiment of Ironbreakers will have a veteran, a grizzled unit leader known as an Ironbeard, who knows the undertunnels like the back of his hand. It is an Ironbeard's duty to maneuver the unit into a favorable position and to call out the battle formations, such as the box of iron, the steel square, and so on. Such is the prowess of the Ironbreakers that they will often be called upon to fight on the surface, aiding the Throng in time of a muster. However, for each battle under the light of sun or moon, the Ironbreakers will have fought dozens in the deep dark below the mountains. And just looking at the rules here, it says they're clad in Gromril, but they don't have a special rule for Gromril armor. Maybe I'm just missing it. Let's go all the way down here. makes them tanky as shit. Hello. Dwarf army list, here we go. I don't quite like the way these books are set up. It seems like the army list should come before the gallery, but I guess they really want to show you the models. Okay, Ironbreakers. They do wear Gromrel armor. Hand weapon shield Gromrel armor, which means the entire unit has 3-up armor saves. Which is pretty friggin' great. They also get a +1 to their parry save, which is also excellent. Where did I see that? Yeah, always receive a +1 bonus to any parry save they are eligible to take, not just on turns in which they were charged. So they are insanely tanky. 3-up, 5-up. That's gnarly. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.